Hi everybody, welcome to our digital kennel, GermanShepherdMan.com with our special guest, Jack Daniel. Yes, that's his real name. Jack bought a puppy from me, and he bought my puppy training system. He has followed to the letter, the house breaking, the potty training, the training of Bella. She's out here on the property kind of looking around. She was raised here, but she's still wanting to smell everything and check out all the deal. Jack, good to have you here, brother.
Yeah, good to be here.
They live close enough so they can come up. This is your fourth time here. So they live in the Tampa Bay area, and we live near Tallahassee, Florida. So here comes Bella. Look at this beautiful girl.
Good girl.
And he wanted to come up so that he could learn from me some advanced training techniques, and we're going to talk about one of those in this video, an advanced training technique. And this issue that you're having is an issue that a lot of people have. So I asked you a question: how is she on a leash?
She's good until we get to a point that she sees something she wants, and after about 30 feet, when you get about that close, she's going to start pulling. But she's been heavily socialized. She's been nose to nose with roughly 350 dogs. And that's basically 5 dogs a day, 7 days a week. That's 35 a week. So that's how I count those I would count those dogs. I would count those dog greetings, nose to nose greetings every day. And I try to get her 5 a day, every day.
Okay.
And so we're up to 350 something now, and she's really good with her greeting, but she wants to see that dog, and she'll start pulling when we get about 30 feet. And we have a little dog at home, and I'll tell her to go down, and she'll go down, but then she'll launch like a rocket to get to that dog.
To get to the little Yorkie? Or are you talking about the
dog in the park, sorry.
Oh, okay.
We have a little dog at home, and she has to go down to see that dog, so I'll put her in a down at the park.
Oh.
And she'll be down at the park, and then she'll launch like a rocket to get to that dog.
To greet, play,
it's
very social.
It's just a burst of energy that I gotta learn how to control.
And she's 8.5 months old.
Right.
And by the way, you have, come Bella.
Bella, what you doing, girl?
She's just walking around. You know how we do these videos. We just let the dogs out and they just roll. Now, when you were telling me that, she gets about maybe from here to the camera where Jay is, and although she's walking nicely beside you, there's another dog or whatever, and she wants to then, when she gets to that 30-foot-ish
area,
she wants to then come out
and pull.
All right, now, what I want to do is give you a little pointer. Just one thing you can do. There's several different things you could do about that instance, but what I would suggest is something called a prong collar, and I brought mine here so we could talk about this. These things look like a medieval torture device, but they simulate the mother when she's training puppies, and when Sergeant's my lead male, and Melania is the lead female. Melania is the boss of the females, and Sergeant manages Melania, and Melania manages the rest of the pack. But if she's getting too heavy-handed, being a little too hard on one of the girls, Sergeant will come up to her and get between her and the dog that she's being a little too heavy with, and he'll say, hey, back up. Usually she'll back up. If not, he'll put his mouth on her neck right here around this skin, because that seems to be a training area for these dogs. It appears their mothers, when they're trying to wean the little puppies from her, hey, you got teeth now, I'm done. No more milk for you. You're eating, and she will bite them on the side of the neck, get her.
What say, Bella? Bella, come on, Bella. Come on.
Do the neck thing.
Right here. Bella. Bella. Yeah, this is where she'll.
Now, he told me, he showed me this. He grabs her when he can grab her, and there was something she was doing that he needed her to be still. They have a pool. She gets in the pool. She needs to be washed off. So that chlorine or salt or whatever's in the pool needs to be washed off. So he was having a problem. She loves the water hose like Sergeant does.
Yeah.
So he found out that he could just grab her by the neck, that skin around her neck, and she would be still while he washed her off. And after doing that a little while, now he doesn't have to do that anymore. So this area around their neck is a training area. That loose skin, that's what their mother bites the puppies to train them. That's what Sergeant kind of, if he has to, he'll get Melania by this loose skin around her neck. And that's what this does. Now, in the situation you're talking about, you're walking, she's doing great, she's been around a lot of dogs, and in her 8.5 months, you've been socializing her very well, but there's one little issue when you get just so close, right. Boom, she wants to go. This is a prong collar, this addresses that loose skin neck area. And that skin, I mean, it's not like skin on her legs or on her head or somewhere. It's a lot of skin. I mean, and what this would do, you have to get these you have to measure your dog's neck in order to get the right size, because the one I use is woven. A lot of them have lengths, and you can put extra length as the dog's neck gets bigger, but this particular one, I like it because it's woven. So you have to measure the dog's neck and order the right size to fit your dog. But what this does is, if it's around the dog's neck and they're walking, and they want to go out, the way to correct is not let them just pull. I mean, that's not how you do it. You give them a little pop. When she moves forward, a little pop. Now, what I like and what I train my dogs to do, when I have one of my dogs beside me, I like to imagine like an invisible basketball. I want this basketball, I want their head to be in that area. And I just envision it. And if he or she gets out past that imaginary basketball, they need a little correction. I don't use this often. I very rarely. I've only used it like 3 times maybe, because I use the basketball technique, and I use a check chain. And if they get past it, they get a little check, and they know, okay, I got to be here. If they drag a little bit and they're a little bit behind me, give them a little pop with the check chain collar, and they know, they learn pretty quickly to stay right in that area under any circumstances. And this will help you with that. But again, it's not a pull thing. Right. It's a check pop thing. Yeah, it's a check. And what are we doing? We're changing conditions. They're condition response animals. They respond to conditions. The conditions currently are, oh, I'm walking by my daddy, oh, there's a dog up there. I like to play with dogs. Okay, there's a dog, there's a dog, there's a dog. You get closer and closer and closer, and finally she just kind of like, oh, you know. That's the conditions. And you've probably been letting her, you know, pull you up there, and they get nose to nose and they're having fun, greeting. Is that right?
Well, we would just sit and stay.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't change anything.
Still got the condition. Eventually she gets to meet the dog, greet the dog, have fun with the dog. So the conditions are, even if I pull, I get what I want. Mm-hmm. Now, when you change the conditions, when I pull, I remember my mama training me, this loose skin around my neck, she's biting me when she was weaning me. We're going to change the conditions so that when I pull like that, oh, I get this, whoa, I don't like those conditions. I'm just going to be here by my daddy. You know what I mean? So when you change the conditions, you change the response. She may need only 2 or 3 trips out with this, and it'll fix her. That's a sweet, beautiful baby. There's a beautiful baby. Now, another thing she was doing, and is she jumped up on you, and I said, okay, there's a couple of things you can do to stop that. And she jumped up on me, and I immediately did the knee in the chest. I mean, it's just automatic. I've been doing that. My neighbor, when I was 8 years old had dogs, and she taught me this. When a dog jumps up on you, you just use your knee, put your knee up, but you don't hesitatingly do it. You aim for their chest or sternum area, and you want to bump them a little bit. You want that. You're changing the conditions. They like to smell your breath. They like to have your hands. They like to hear your voice. So it's natural for them to want to come up to your breath, your voice, your hands. I mean, that's just a natural thing. And if she gets what she wants, great. So if we change the conditions, okay, when she jumps up, boom, I just did it because it's automatic in me.
Right.
And I caught her squarely right there, and it didn't hurt her or anything. It just surprised her a little bit. And it took a while for her to kind of like, hey, whoa, the guy need me in the chest. It took her a while to kind of like settle in, which she has settled in. But that's something you can do. And another thing you can do for jumping up is when she jumps up, be choreographing this, be thinking this. When she jumps up, look for her front paws and grab them and just hold them. Might even squeeze a little bit. You want her to be uncomfortable. And quickly, she'll be, I didn't want this. Daddy, yeah. And then you let her go. We're changing the conditions. See, she jumped up, she was getting what she wanted. They like to smell your breath, they like to see your face, they like to look into your eyes, they like for you to, your hands. First thing you did was kind of give her hands to get her off of you. Change the conditions. Jump up, grab her paws. And let her get uncomfortable.
Go,
and once she's uncomfortable, and you've done that 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times, the conditions now have changed. When I jump up now, I'm in an uncomfortable situation. I don't like this. I'm not jumping up on you anymore, Daddy. You know what I mean? So just recognize, think like a dog, I say. Always be training and think like a dog. And if they have behavior that's not acceptable or manners that are out of whack, then just think, okay, what are the conditions that's telling her to continue to do this? Let's change those conditions and we'll change her response, because they respond to conditions.
That's a good girl, Bella.
She's doing so good. Look at her. That's a sweet girl. Now, I raised this baby. She was in a litter of 10 puppies. Oh, I never had 10 before. It was hard.
Well, we waited 3 litters for her, though.
Yes, it was hard. As a matter of fact, my puppy apartments, they're really nice puppy apartments. You've been in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But wow, it was just for 10. I mean, it was fine for 8, 7, but 10, whoa, I had to split these up. I got the ones that were easier going. I put those 5 in one puppy apartment and left the ones that were a little bit more rambunctious, let them kind of fight it out in the other puppy apartment. It caused me to have to do double work to clean up every day, but hey. But she was one of those, and she has turned out beautifully. So, number 1, if your dog has bad manners, just think about the conditions and what they're getting out of that, because they're getting something out of that. Stop and think how you can change the conditions to get a different response. It works really, really well.
Yep.
Anything else? You got any other questions about the leash stuff?
No, I was hesitant on the prong, but understanding the Mother Nature thing kind of helps me with that.
Good.
I don't think she'll need it that long, because I can do that. I can emulate that myself. When I need to, when I have to stand still when I'm grooming her or something, rinsing her off with a hose, and I see that it works. So I know that works for her.
Yes.
So I think that if I did that, it wouldn't be long at all.
No, you may 3 trips and it may be over.
Yeah.
I've used this thing maybe 3 times, because it quickly, I had a female, Angel, and this was a couple of years ago. Angel, whoa, pull, man. I mean, everything I did, the check, everything that I've done for 40 years just didn't work. She was just a puller, puller, puller. And she's the reason I started getting these. And I used it 3 times, boom, fixed. And I didn't ever have to use it again.
Yeah, I think that's where we'll end up doing.
I know a professional trainer that leaves these, and there's another kind of really good quality. It's a German product. It's called Herm Sprenger, S-P-R-E-N-G-E-R. Probably not pronouncing that properly, but that's a prong collar that a lot of professionals use, and it is the link one, so you can expand it or take
control the size.
yeah,
right.
so that's a good one. That's what a lot. But I know a guy near here that's what he uses. He uses a prong collar, and his dogs are magnificent.
She likes you, Jay.
Yes, she's gone over to Jay, the cameraman, and she's over there loving on him a little bit. Thank you, Jack, for coming up and being a part of the family.
Oh yeah.
And when Jack got her, he stepped up and bought my personal puppy training system also. And that helped you, didn't it?
Yeah, you know, I did the PetSmart. Oh, I shouldn't say the name.
No, it's okay.
I did a big box training system with the previous dog, and I did learn a little bit there. And the training is totally different than your training. What you're training, you know, the training starts at the pan. That really, you know, it allowed me to train her 2 times a day, and the rest of the day she can be a dog.
Yes.
You know, you're not out there working the dog all the time. You're out there playing with the dog, and then you're training 2 times a day for 20 minutes.
Yep,
You know,
exactly.
you know, so in 40 minutes a day, you know, she's being trained in a lot less training effort, and honestly, it was with her food kibble. So yes, I do have some high value treats for new procedures and new things we're learning.
Right.
But the standard sit, stay, down, come, you know, that's basically, she works for that kibble.
And you don't have to load her up and drive somewhere and
Right,
get out and
right.
go in and pay all the money. I mean,
Well, it's there every time. If I want to refer back to it, it's there.
yeah.
You know, when you do a class, once you graduate the class, you're pretty much
It's over.
done. You know, where the training system, you know, I have it to go back to, which I did the second night we had her. You know, the ignore crying. I'm like, do I really need to ignore this? So I went back and watched that video at 12 o'clock at night when she was crying. And he said ignore it, so I ignored it. And thank goodness I ignored it, because it quit. And I didn't do anything about it. So, you know, I had it to go back to. Instead of me calling you, I watched the video.
They quit crying in the crate quicker the more you ignore them. If you give them any kind of, it'll be okay, but you just give them that little something that's conditions that they're winning.
Right.
But if you totally ignore them, they're like, okay,
Didn't do any good.
crying doesn't work. I'm just not going to do this. That's a classic condition response situation. Plus, when you ignore them in the crate and they're crying, you're training them to be confident. You're training them to be a confident dog in a situation that they don't like. So it's got a lot of pluses to it. But
Wow.
Thank you for doing that, and thank you for coming up here again, spending this beautiful day with us. And I hope you learned something out of this. Get my puppy training system if you need to have a confident dog and you're not personally confident enough to end up with a great German Shepherd adult. The link is in the description below. Jack Daniel, you are the man. Thank you, brother. From all of us to all of you, thank you. GermanShepherdman.com.
He's funny.